Actually, it was yourself. At the very, very start of my career, you gave me a piece of advice that I would never forget, and you said...
It comes from struggle and pain.
Absolutely. I always think my best writing sessions are when I'm in the worst moods. And then I kind of like developed a bit of a love for pop music, so like Pink was a big inspiration to me. Like I remember being able to go to her shows and be like very openly gay and be proud of who I was, and that was the first time as a young person that I was able to feel like that. This is gonna sound really rogue, but I'd love to have Brian May on the guitar.
Why do you love the oversensitivity of my mistakes? And when I'm moody, you can see it written on my face. Not me, I'll never go for the kill. You're a bitch cause you know that it works. Oh my God, I'm in love, you're the worst. Oh my God, I'm in love, you're the worst. Oh my God, I'm in love. So you pull me to bed with your eyes, but you leave in the dark of the night. I wake up and get off on the hurt. Oh my God, I'm in love, you're the reason I've been drinking, overthinking. I'm a freaking nervous wreck. I get so angry, I can't stand me. Look what you've done to me, oh my God. I'm in love, you're the worst, oh my God. I'm in love, you're the worst, and it's just outside. I wanna smile, but I think I might cry. Oh my God. I'm in love, you're the worst.
Welcome to dopeYEAH. Today's guest is a very good friend of mine called Emily Burns. I met Emily when she was 16 years of age. Came to Abbey Road Studios and through a friend who handed me a CD, took it away. Here's another kid, wants to be in pop music, etc., etc. But by the time I got to the first chorus of the tune, the first tune on the CD, it was like, I was just blown away. I thought, this is someone with a huge career ahead of them. Just as a writer, way beyond her years. Just most beautiful voice, great delivery, was fully formed even at 16. Since then, Emily's gone on to work with major record companies, publishers, songwriters, managers, major tours all around the world. This is a major star in the making, in my view. I think a huge career ahead of her. Emily Burns, it's brilliant to see you.
Thank you, Rob. God, you're making me emotional already. I thought I might get emotional, but not in the first minute. Thank you.
So you did a gig here last night.
Yes.
At the dopeYEAH Club. Emily performed. It was amazing. So how was it for you?
There's something about this place that is just something, I've never felt anything like it before. It feels just magical. It feels really unique, and the people here, the atmosphere here, it's just so welcoming and so warm, and I've never had such an attentive audience that just genuinely were really passionate about music. So it was amazing, and that everyone who played last night was incredible. Like the class in the room, it was just, yeah, I felt honoured to be a part of it.
I mean, the club, you know, I'm the same as you. You know, obviously I come from London, and well, I'm Irish, but you know, I've spent the last 20...
Never Irish.
last 30 years in London, and it's hard to explain to people here how kind of amazing it is, you know, because especially, obviously the venue is great, but then there's the Radio Museum, which we're sitting in now, which is just the most amazing space. Yeah. And people just come in and go, wow. And I mean, it's eccentric and kind of kooky in all the right ways. I think, would you agree?
Yeah, because as you said to me, you text me, you were like, you got to come. It's like, you can't explain over message how amazing, you just have to be here to experience it.
I think Peter Schemmler, the guy who's built all of this, amazing guy. I think really what comes out of the venue and here is just the absolute love of music. It's all serving music. You know, he's a huge music fan. I think the people who come to the venue are the same. As you said, they're attentive. And I think, you know, you and I being from kind of cynical London sometimes, it's really refreshing to kind of nearly that innocence about how wonderful music is and to kind of share it in a room with people.
Yeah.
And who really want to hear you.
It's easy in London to get wrapped up in like the business of music. Whereas here it's all about the love of music, which is just, it's very refreshing.
I thought it was really sweet last night. You mentioned, I was hoping you would mention it was the little kid in front of you.
Oh my God.
She was so adorable, that
I
kid.
could not
Oh
cope.
my God.
She was singing along.
She knew all the words.
She knew all the words. And that for me was like a moment of absolute joy. Like I was honestly welling up on stage. Like it was so emotional.
I was welling up and I was on the side. I saw her because I spoke to her earlier and she was with her mum and she said, I love Emily Burns. I've been, since I know I listened to all her music. I think she's amazing. And she's like, what, 10 or something?
Oh, she was adorable. She came over to me afterwards with a lipstick. She was like, I don't have a pen, but I've got this lipstick. Can you sign this piece of paper? Oh, she was lovely. She was just, adorable. That she made my night.
So if we kind of, obviously we know each other well, but obviously for the audience, the podsters out there, it's my new name, calling them podsters, you know?
I like it.
For the podsters out there, it all started, obviously you grew up in rugby. So just tell us a little bit about kind of growing up in rugby and how you kind of discovered yourself in musically speaking.
Yeah, I grew up in Rugby. It's this little town in the middle of England. It's not the most musically driven town. There's not a lot of music. I think there was like one venue there that I tried to play at whenever I possibly could. But I grew up in a really musical household. So my brother was always into music. He's in bands now still. He's an amazing guitarist, really, really amazing musician. And then my dad also was a guitarist, played in bands, and my mum loved music, had really good music taste. So like I just grew up in this house where like there was always music playing, and always like my dad would just like put a guitar in my hands and be like, play for the room. Like it just I always felt like not pushed, I don't want to say pushed, but like encouraged to do music. And through school, like, well, as you know, through going through my later school years, I started spending a lot more time in London, kind of spending half my time studying.
Well.
Yeah, half my
exams.
time coming, being in London, writing with you, networking, like building my London life. And my family and my school and everything were so supportive of that. They were just like, they really believed in me. So they were like, just go, do it. So I don't know, I've been very lucky that I've always had that support and encouragement to just pursue music.
I think though when people, and I'm not blowing smoke here, but I am a little bit, I think when you meet people who you feel have a real chance, I think good people gravitate towards you. You know, when they see, here's someone, because there's a lot of people out there trying to do this business, and and it's heartbreaking. You just know, as a producer, you just know it's never going to happen. You just think they're good, but they're just not good enough, and it's kind of it's tough. But someone comes along once in a while like you, and you think, here's someone who has a real chance, and that's as good as it gets in my view, because there's so many factors, as you know.
It's not all about talent, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors to it. You have to have the talent, and there's so much other stuff.
Yeah.
You've been through all of that, in and out of deals, and dealing with the politics and of the industry, and how tough it's been at times, but the ups and the downs. I mean, what would you say, looking back now, what have been the big challenges for you?
Big challenges, just mainly to just stay true to who I am as an artist, because it's been very easy at times to be swayed by people and kind of signing into deals where they're like, okay, you need to be more like this now, and we'll take photos of you that look like this, certain like maybe like a bit more shiny and a bit more poppy, or they're just like pushing it in certain directions. And actually, it was yourself at the very, very start of my career. You gave me a piece of advice that I would never forget, and you said, there is no one like you. So, and that's true for everybody. There is no one who is the same as you. So don't try and be anyone else. Don't try and dress like someone else and sound like someone else and talk like someone else. Like, just be as authentically you as you possibly can, and then you'll have a shot, because no one can do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose that's just from my experiences of working with other artists, where I've seen labels try to change them, and they get away from the spirit of what drives the artist.
Yeah.
And where, as I always say, and boringly, that we serve the song. As a producer, you serve the song. So in that way, when you're working with an artist, your first reference point is the actual song and how that's presented, and how, because you write your own material, and I think you're an amazing songwriter. I mean, I think the thing that impressed me the most about you, not only you have a beautiful voice and you know your own phrasing, which is a huge thing in music, especially at an early age. You knew you were in tune, for the no pun intended, with your own kind of essence of voice. You kind of knew your phrasing, but the narrative, the lyrics were just, as I said earlier on in the introduction, they're just way beyond your years, and how you kind of weaved a narrative, a story. And I remember, I hope you don't mind me saying, about when your mum and dad split up, and there was a song, and I remember literally being in tears listening to it. You were creating this imagery in your songs. Like, I remember there was a line about the slippers by the door, and you could sort of see it like a film. And I love that. I love that kind of cinematographic kind of approach to songwriting, where it lures you in and the images start weaving in your mind. To me, that's brilliant songwriting. And that's when I knew as well, I knew it's going to be challenging for you, and because it always is. It's never easy. Even people who get very successful, they say more money, more problems. It's like, it's the same with this world. But when you've got a talent like yours, I think you'll win the day. You just stay true. You just keep at it, and it will come. It will, because that talent that you have isn't everywhere. People said, so many people in the music industry doing stuff, but not doing it brilliantly. There's 100,000 tracks a day put up on Spotify.
I know. When you actually think about that statistic, that is mental.
But most of it's rubbish. That's the honest truth. Most of it isn't very good. So you have to kind of just keep plugging away. And that's why I thought with you, I mean, you've done amazing things already, but the best is definitely yet to come, I feel.
Sunlight on the bed sheets, your eyes looking heavy. Shit shows on the telly, but we don't mind at all. We'll go halves on a whole piece, sweet taste strawberry. No need for us to get ready, 'cause we treat time like a waterfall. But now I'm dreading every weekend, nostalgia giving me the feeling I may never find another like you. So I just need one more vanilla Sunday with you, when we got nothing to do but watch the day go by. So tell me, did you want one more vanilla Sunday with me? Then we can call it history, if that's what you really want. Great in the morning, eyes red, tears are pouring. Blueberry Monday is calling. So many things that I have to do in stormy weather. I can't forget ya. I'm trying, know that I'm trying. Well, aren't you missing all the whispers? You always made me shiver. But now the summers never felt so cold. So I just need one more vanilla Sunday with you, when we got nothing watch the day go by. So tell me, did you want one more vanilla Sunday with? Then we can call it history, if that's what you really want.
Moving past that, so you're in London now, you're living a new life in London. So, I mean, that's a huge difference from rugby. I mean, I know rugby's quite a while back now, but still, you must sometimes think it's a completely different culture change, isn't it? Really?
It is. London is like, it's so strange actually, because when I go back to rugby, a lot of my friends, my school friends, are kind of married and have children, and they're like super settled in their lives, and like London is just so different. It's like this place where everyone is kind of just out for themselves, and it's like everyone's on their own journey. It's a very career-driven place, it feels to me. So that was definitely a big culture shock to come from like this cute little like hometown to like the big city. But I love it. Like, I'm so happy in London. I'm very grateful for my friends, my girlfriend, my family, everything I'm in a very fortunate position there. And I get to go out every day and write songs and then play gigs and make a living doing music. And if I could look back at my 16-year-old self and be like, you're going to be in your 20s living in London, having a career doing this, like, I'm very grateful.
It was amazing. It was great to meet Grace last night. It was the first time I've met Grace, and she's just amazing.
She's
just like this bundle of joy.
She's just like got this incredible energy and passion for life, and that just like feeds me with passion. And
so how did you meet? How did that happen?
We met I was shooting a music video for a single I was putting out 3 years ago called Hello. And I cast her to play like an ex. And she just walked in the morning, and I remember like walking past her in the bathroom and being like, oh my God, she is gorgeous. I was like, oh my God, I have to sit down and talk to this person now. I was like really nervous. But then we just spent the whole day like talking, and the director would kind of like at times be like, now, okay, let's now shout at each other. So we had to like start shouting at each other and throwing things at each other, and like we just got on so well. Started chatting afterwards, and then lockdown happened. So that's
the test.
Yeah, that was like, is this going to be a thing? And yeah, fortunately it was, and I'm very in love and very happy.
Because when I first met you, obviously you hadn't come out, and then, but you know, it was funny because I remember, you know, when sort of you did, it was like no surprise to anybody. We all kind of knew because it's Paris Emily, you know, it's like you had all these boys who had crushes on you, and you know, no names, no mentions, but it was like they just. You know who they were at the time, young people at the time, at like major, at Abbey Road, there was so many of the young guys had crushes on you. And it was like, it was very sweet that you had no interest, and it was like, you know, I think maybe, you know.
This is becoming very obvious.
Yeah, it's becoming very obvious. And it was like, but it was when I finally heard you'd met Grace and you kind of settled into yourself, because that's a big thing, isn't it? I mean, I know your parents as well, and they're beautiful people, so I'm sure I know the answer to this question, but was there anybody shocked by that, or sort of was it a big thing, or was it okay? I mean,
older relatives, you know, it's always going to be it's a different generation thing, isn't it? So yeah, there's definitely been older relatives that have been like, that's shocking. But on the whole, like I've just been really lucky. I think I've got a very loving and supportive family and circle, and it's never been an issue really, and I'm very lucky. I've met someone that I love, and
well, I always think it's about the gang, you know,
yeah,
as well, and you've always had a really strong gang around you between obviously your parents very supportive, and your brother as well, and I was thinking about that the other day. You know, I try not to talk too much in this podcast because I mean we've got so much history, but because it's all about you. But I did remember we were talking about this the other day, the festival, like when we were starting out and we were like these desperados up in Tea in the Park, which is a huge festival for the audience out there in Scotland, and like 70,000 drunk Scots people having a great time.
Oh my gosh.
And but we went. Remember you and I and your brother and Pierce Pierce McIntyre, and we were kind of trying to get things going. And you and I were blagging our way into the press tent to try and get more interviews. And your brother and Pierce getting high on slush puppies, like because they were trying not to drink, and then sort of like, we're on our fifth slush puppy,
shaking.
like shaking with sugar rush. And it was just so much fun. I've got very fond memories of those times and performing, and there's like some great photographs of us just all at the festival, and it's just, you can't, you look back on those times and you're just so glad you've had them. I mean, they're a big part of our...
They were, I mean, that festival, I will never ever forget it. And there were so many of those times with you and with Pierce and in the very early stages of things that just like unforgettable experiences.
And the other thing here is that you've played the Czech Republic before with Mira Zabirka.
Yes.
That's 10 years ago.
Yes.
When you were just a wee lass.
Yes.
So that
when
was,
I first met you, yeah.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
I know, that was quite shocking when that moment hit. I was like, wow, okay, that was 10 years ago. That was an amazing experience. Miro, what a man.
Yeah, I mean, as well, again, Czech people will know he's a huge star here, but the wider audience might not know what a huge star he was. Sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and obviously he was one of my best friends, and he loved you and he loved your music, and that's why he said, let's bring Emily out to support on the tour, and he's a great supporter of yours, and so that was again part of the gang, people all looking out for each other. But Miro had a great eye for talent. He could always spot the talented ones, and he was like, she's great, and it's like, let's bring her on and it was so much fun, that tour as well.
It was so fun, and I couldn't believe the size of the venues, like coming out here and then playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. And that was like some of the first ever gigs I played was like with you guys in front of thousands of people. It was like quite a shock to go from doing that to then going back to London playing the like small, tiny little bars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was. I've got some. Well, we ended up busking here as well. Remember, it was beautiful, sunny days in Prague, and you and I went out with a bottle of wine and stopped busking on the street and just for fun.
Yeah.
And I've got that actually on film. I filmed it.
I would love
and,
to see that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you were amazing on it as well. And so that was kind of again part of the journey. And here we are, sort of 10 years later. We're still doing it. Still in the ring.
Still going.
Still hustling, still fighting it out. And, and it's great. It's like, that's what makes, in a way, life worth living, because for me, anyway, not to delve into too much cliche here, but I've said this before, but great art comes out of struggle. Mm-hmm. And in a way, sometimes the more struggle you have, the better you are as an artist. If everything is beautiful and lovely all the time, where's the inspiration?
Yeah, no, that's so true. That's so true. You have to have hardships.
Yeah, there has to be struggle, and then it'll bring the best out as a writer,
Yeah.
That's why I thought with kind of people in wonderfully perfect middle class lifestyles, they can't be great artists. Where are they going to get the inspiration from?
Yeah.
It comes from struggle and pain. And
absolutely. I always think my best writing sessions are when I'm in the worst moods. Like I'll come out at the end of the day with the best song if I've gone in a bad mood. I don't know why that is.
And speaking of writing, so you've obviously written probably hundreds of songs now. Mm. So do you at the end of the day, do you prefer writing on your own or with somebody else?
It definitely varies. I always start an idea by myself because I like to, as you talked about, like I really like to tell personal stories in my writing. So for me, everything I put out has to be a genuine, honest experience or it just wouldn't feel right to release it. So I always will start with an idea at home, like just with a guitar, get some lyrics going, get some melodies going, and then head in with, there's a couple of producers that I work with regularly and I'll just take an idea to them. We'll like bounce off each other. So I love working collaboratively, but for me, the the like heart of the song always has
seed
to
of it.
come from just me.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise, because I think you've got to have some sort of ownership, you know, like to really engage. You know what I mean? If you don't have a lot of ownership, I think it can be difficult, especially when you're delivering that song.
Yeah.
And so you would generally start this, lyrically at least, the core of it would be you bringing it to the table.
Yeah.
Rather than people bringing you songs.
That's it. If someone came and sat down and went, I think you should sing about this, I'd be like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. Because and as you just said, like when performing live, I find that I can, like, I just have to connect. You have to connect to the songs and feel it and believe it. And I just wouldn't. If it was someone else's idea, someone else's story, it wouldn't make sense for me to sing it.
Do you know how many lies I've had to tell my friends? How many nights I've seen out till the end? Lost count of the times I've rewritten messages I never sent. If you knew the ways I tried to forget, all the days that I've wasted lying in my bed. If you knew that it breaks every little piece of me each time you leave, then maybe you wouldn't call. Maybe then you should leave me alone. 'Cause I can't help but fall apart. Got me right back at the start. Funny how you always know when I'm about to let you go. You show up and say hello.
I think I know the answer to this question. We'll ask you anyway. So what was because I remember you telling me a long time ago, but what was the first song you heard that really resonated with you?
Oh my gosh. What was my answer to you 10 years ago?
It was Macy Gray.
I try.
And I remember you telling me that a long time ago. And
That's
so
so
I love
funny.
that song as well. And I remember, because I remember at the time, my wife won't mind me saying, but I had a girlfriend that when that song came out, and she loved that song, and I think really what she was trying to tell me, she was always trying to get away from me, but she couldn't. It was like, when I look back at it now, I was like, okay. Because she's like, I love that song. The
When you
words are
think
so
about
amazing.
the lyrics,
Yeah. But
that's
that
quite hurtful.
I can see why you would like that, but what was it that really worked for you?
I was 5, I think. And
Oh my
that
God, I
song-
was listening to it as an adult and you were 5. So depressing. Anyway, yeah.
that song, I think I was 5 when it came out. And I remember just like, I basically sang from the minute I could talk. And I remember being 5 years old, being on holiday with my parents, and that song coming on. We were walking through a market and the song came on, and I like stood on this box similar to this in this marketplace and just started singing Macy Gray. I don't know who I thought I was. Like, clearly I've always been this attention seeker.
Fabulous.
And I stood on this box and just sang it. And I mean, I have very, very faint memories of it because obviously I was so young. But from what my parents said, like there was this little crowd that kind of gathered around, and that's, yeah, so that song's always had a very special place in my heart.
And sort of from there, who are your kind of musical heroes from that point?
Musical heroes, I always really liked the narrative, the singer-songwriter sort of stuff. So growing up, I listened to a lot of like Corinne Bailey Rae, Jack Johnson,
Ed Sheeran. You're a big Ed Sheeran fan, I
of
remember.
course.
You kind of spotted him well early as well, I remember, because you were talking about him before he was really a big star.
Yeah, I
remember,
mean-
and I was I'm not so sure. What do I know?
Look
Biggest
now.
star in the world. But
Yeah.
yeah, you spotted him well early when he put out that first record, and you were like, this guy's amazing, you got to check him out. And it's like, oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
Might do something.
I think, it was the storytelling in all of those songs. I was just like, this is so
A-Team
raw.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
So always like singer-songwritery stuff. And then I kind of like developed a bit of a love for pop music. So like Pink, was a big inspiration to me. I think also like musically, but also just as a figure and as an artist, and what she stood for really resonated with me. Like I remember being able to go to her shows and be like very openly gay and be proud of who I was. And that was the first time as a young person that I was able to feel like that. So yeah, big Pink fan as well.
And obviously, you know, when we worked together back in the day, you ended up working at Abbey Road at reception. That was hilarious as well, in the sense of, you know, we're all in the best studio in the world.
Yeah.
And obviously you were able to kind of meet lots of people, and that must have been a lot of fun. I mean,
that was, yeah. I mean, well, as you know, like Abbey Road was just this place where, I guess in a similar way to here, like everyone who worked there just adored music. So, and you could feel that when you like walked into the building. It was like everyone wasn't there because they had to be there. Like everyone was there because they wanted to work there and be there. So being on the reception desk, like every day getting to see people come through, showing them to the studios, getting to meet all these amazing musicians. I remember one time being in the bar with Pierce actually, and I heard this Scottish voice and I was like, I really recognise that. And I turned around, it was Paolo Nutini.
I remember. He came up to the room, remember, he wanted to smoke a joint in the room and I wouldn't let him. No, you can't smoke a joint. You can't smoke in here, mate.
He did light it. And everyone was like, no, you have to stop.
I remember it well.
But he was such a sweetheart. Like, wasn't he just the nicest
he's
guy?
an amazing voice. I mean, he's brilliant. He did actually, my favourite track of his is the one,
Iron
Sky, that he did in Studio 2.
That video.
I think that was the session he might have done it on, actually. That might have been that series of sessions.
That day.
Yeah, wow.
And if you haven't watched that, like, that is the very first thing you have to go and watch after this.
Yeah, because he basically came and smoked a joint in my production room where Emily used all the time as well. So it was kind of like he was a character, you know. He's very kind of rock and roll, but just what a voice! That was amazing. And then you sort of met some other producers early on, then through Abbey Road as well, didn't you?
Yes. So yeah, I started. That was definitely like working there enabled me to kind of start building a network and meeting new people. And Pierce and I did a couple of tracks that just put on SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. And that's when started to get a few people reaching out, like a few industry people, and I was like, what's going on? Like, this feels uncomfortable. Like, I don't really know what's happening right now. And so just, I don't know, started to meet people, met a lot of people with you, built a network, and was able to start working with, just some incredibly talented people.
It's kind of funny that you had Alistair Norbury as I brought him, suggested him to manage you, and now he's the president of BMG.
Yeah,
it's like,
crazy.
Crazy. It's again everybody's journey.
What, 10 years?
Yeah, I remember Alistair just sort of exciting ring me up one day and just got, you never guess what, Rob? I'm the president of BMG.
Yeah.
Like, wow, good luck to you, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because he's always been a huge sort of fan and supporter of yours over the years, hasn't he? It's like Alistair always spoke hugely, highly and respectfully towards you. Yeah. As long as I've known him.
He actually just texted me yesterday. Like, really? He was still very, very. I mean, my publishing is with BMG, as you know, and they're a very, very supportive group of people. Like, Alistair's just been one of those people that, like yourself, has just been there through the whole journey and never stopped believing. There's people that come in and out through the journey and go, oh yeah, I think this could work, and then lose interest when things don't quite go to plan. But yeah, there's a few people who have stuck around from day one and just been like, this is something I really believe deserves to work, which is very nice.
Well, I think that's it. It deserves to work. It deserves its chance. It deserves to be heard. I think that's why good people, I said earlier on, gravitate towards you, because there's so much music out there. Like I was saying earlier, 100,000 tracks, 99% of them are just not very good. So when good stuff comes along, people want to champion it. You want to kind of help it along, because it's important music. Let's be honest, it can be very fickle and whimsical, the whole industry, but music is important to people. And when good artists come along, it's kind of a precious thing, because it doesn't come along that often, is the truth of it. It just doesn't. So I thought, I think when everybody, myself included, heard you in the early days, we thought, okay, with the right setup, this can go all the way. As we know, there's so many factors involved, and you're a brilliant songwriter, great artist, you've got the charisma, all the other stuff that needs to go with it. And obviously you've been through that and now figuring out your next moves about moving forward. I think it's not only musically, but you have to kind of decide your infrastructure and the people you surround yourself with on the business side as well.
Absolutely. It's all about who you surround yourself with, because you need people who aren't just gonna like champion you, but are also gonna give you some like hard home truths as well. And that's where I've been really lucky, because I've had yourself, I've had many people through my career who, there's been a lot of people who just will, like, to use your expression, blow smoke up your ass. And it's like, that's not always what you need. What you need is people who are going to sit down with you and like give you the honest truth. I don't think I'm answering your question very well here at all.
That's great. Just keep going with it. We're just talking. Just talking, it's all good. But so just getting a little silly here for a minute. So best show, worst show. I often ask people this. What was the best show you've ever done? What was the worst show you've ever done?
Best show, probably I played at a venue called Dingwalls in Camden, and that was on my last headline tour. So that was my tour that, like, it was the biggest one I'd done. I think there were maybe like 500 people there. But to walk out to a crowd and there's 500 people there who like bought tickets to come see me, I was like,
wow, that's amazing.
This was nuts. And they were like the young girl from last night, they were just all singing along to every single word, to every single song. And I was like, this is a real moment here. Like, I'm welling up thinking about it now, because it was just like, this is what you kind of work for, is those experiences like that. And I will never forget that. Worst show. This is so awful to say, but I've played at a lot of like Pride events over this time, because it's amazing, and Pride's always like the most loving environment. It's always a good time. But I played at Liverpool Pride maybe 3 years ago, because of COVID. And I remember being on stage and it was like hammering down with rain, and it's an outdoor stage. So like, firstly, I don't know, there was like a few hundred people there, but everyone was like in their ponchos, just like standing in the rain, like so sad and so unhappy. And then I had a wardrobe malfunction on stage, I think because it was slippy, and I was like jumping around, and I wasn't wearing anything under my top. And it was just, I won't go into any further detail, but I did some jumping and some things were on show, and it was absolutely mortifying. And again, an experience I'll never forget, but for quite opposite reasons.
That sounds awful. I wish I'd been there for that one.
It's awful.
But so, again, kind of being slightly whimsical here. So if you were to put, because last night you played with a band, and I loved the energy of you with a band. And look, I love your pop stuff, and I understand, that works brilliant on radio especially, and I think some of your productions are amazing. The pop productions are just fantastic. But there's something seeing you with a band, like when everybody's going for it, that kind of visceral energy. Last night, you know, I just thought, wow, this is how it was a bit, dare I say, Americana. It was like because those songs, I think they can fit into any bracket. They can fit into Americana, they can fit into pop, but I did love that kind of raw, visceral energy, and I thought Hansa did a great job in arranging the music for the band.
Yeah, amazing job.
And it sounded powerful.
There's nothing like playing on stage with the live drums. I've played a lot of shows where it's just me, or I've played shows where it's me and keys and had some track running to try and make things sound a bit more like the pop productions. But there's nothing like having a live drum kit on stage. Like, it just gives everything that
air hitting
extra.
the back of your legs, you know.
It gives you just
drum.
like, it's powerful, and it just makes everything feel just like that bit more anthemic and that bit more wild. I don't know, I can't think of the right word to explain it, but there's nothing like live drums.
Yeah, it's the power of a beat, you know,
Yeah.
but also somebody hitting something.
Yeah.
Like physically hitting, so it's like primitive nearly.
Yeah.
You know, man has done it since the dawn of time, where they just banged a stick on a rock
Yeah.
to make a sound. But I agree, and it drives you. Like when the drummer gets intentful, you get intentful. It's
Yeah.
all working off each other, I think, on stage,
Yeah.
isn't it? You
And-
you play first for your band, and then you play for the audience.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Roman, who played last night, is just the most incredible, talented musician as well. So to have him on stage playing with me, it was like a real honour.
Well, that's, I think, what's brilliant about now, isn't it? It's like record companies aren't the be all and end all. They are a very important part when you get to a certain level, as we discussed earlier on, and you know, when we were talking before the interview. But this, you know, really at the end of the day, as an artist, you can put out songs yourself, and it's like you don't need the big machine at certain points in your career. You just, you know, you need to get stuff out. You need to pace yourself really to kind of build the momentum, and then bring them in when and where you need them. I'm personally not a massive fan a lot of the time of the creative input from labels.
Yeah.
I think they should put out records, but you know, I don't really, as you know, I've been an artist myself in the past, and I don't like being told what to play. I mean, did you
Yeah.
feel that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I would never like to like totally trash talk labels that I have worked with, because
Sure.
there's been amazing positives as well. But it definitely feels like, and I've seen it a lot with a lot of artists, is like you'll get signed because they really like seeing what you're doing, and then once you're signed, it's like, well, why don't you do this instead? And it's like, it doesn't actually make sense when you think about it. Like, you signed me because you liked the direction I was going in, and then you felt you had to put your mark on it and your stamp on it, and you changed it. And that, to me, I've seen it happen a lot with a lot of artists. So to be in a situation now where I'm like, I have a lot more control with an independent label, I can put out what I want to put out, I can be who I want to be, say what I want to say, do what I want to do. It feels like a much more exciting time,
And you're in control.
and I'm in control.
Because I think that's the big thing. It's like when people sign label deals, they want to cooperate with the label. So, you know, they sometimes make compromises they maybe shouldn't at certain points. And, you know, for the label people, sometimes it's like, it's a little bit more whimsical. It's like, well, let's give it a go, but it's your life.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do it wrong, it can put you back 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
it's
that's
a serious
it.
business, you know.
That's what people maybe forget, is like, this is actually my life, and this is artists, this is their lives that you're taking into your hands right now. It's not just a product, do you know what I mean? And I don't know, I've definitely I had some amazing experiences in every label I've been with so far, but the position I'm in now just feels like, strangely, the most exciting point I've been at.
But I think I go back to it. You're in control.
Yeah.
You're going to decide what goes out, what doesn't go out, and just build it to where it needs to be. I think even going back to the fact that, I know it sounds like maybe it's something like 500 people paying to be in a room is a big deal. You know, for me, it's like, I've always said that. You have people who've got like 10 million streams, you know, at 10 million followers a month on Spotify,
Yeah.
and they can't get 100 people in a room.
Yeah, I
know?
think there's a very big difference between like online presence and then live presence. Do you know what I mean? And selling tickets to a live performance is really hard.
It is. It's very difficult.
So, and I've played shows like as a support act that are much bigger than that. But for me, playing a show like for 500 people that have genuinely come to see me, that was like, yeah, that's a different experience altogether.
Because you did the Rag and Bone Man tour, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was amazing. That was the rooms on those tours were like really big. So that's an entirely different experience to go out on stage and like play to thousands of people. I was very, very lucky. And for those shows, I just played those ones by myself acoustically.
Well, it's a tough room.
Yeah, it was. Excuse me. That's, yeah. But I feel like his audience is very attentive, and they're an audience who come to listen to music. They're not an audience who come to drink at the bar, if you know what I mean. Whereas I've played many, many gigs like that as well, where you are like fighting to be heard over the sound of people pulling pints and getting smashed at the back. His audience were like there to listen to music.
So if you're putting a dream band together for another tour, who would it be? Like, it could be anybody. So like any top musician. So you're a superstar artist, and you can get anyone you want in your band, any guitar player, any drummer. Have you got a kind of dream lineup that you'd want to play with you?
Let's think. This is going to sound really rogue, but I'd love to have Brian May on the guitar. Only because I remember being really young and my dad met him at the airport one time.
Well, I worked with him. Remember going to Abbey Road?
Yeah, no, I know. And he was lovely, right?
Yeah, he's sweet.
So I feel like he'd do it as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
If I just give him a little ring.
I have his number if you wanted.
Yeah, brilliant.
Let's get Brian in. That's sorted. Guitar sorted.
Yeah, guitar sorted. Maybe on the keys I'd have JP Sax, do you know?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely love him, love his music, a little bit obsessed. I think his songwriting is just like on another level. So maybe have him on the keys. Who could I love 1975.
I love the 1975.
Love them so much. So maybe all of them in some capacity, in some way. And then you on the drums, I think.
Thank you so much. Maybe percussion.
Yeah.
No, it's been amazing to have you here. I'm so happy you've come over and done the show for us, because everybody in the venue last night was very excited, and it's as we said, it's a place about music and joy. I know that sounds corny, but it kind of is, and bringing people together. That's the whole thing. There's a kind of innocence about here, and and it brings the best out of people, I feel.
Yeah.
The club, and as I said earlier on, the owner Peter Shamala he's created something really unique and fantastic, and I'm honored to be a part of it myself, and then bring my friends like you over to kind of share that and get to know you, and introduce you hopefully to more people that can hear your music. And so at the end of the podcast, it'd be great if you could play us a track or two, maybe something off your new stuff.
Yeah.
That people can hear.
I'd love to.
And thanks a million for doing the podcast. If you can play us a wee tune, that'll be great.
I will. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thanks for having me. 2 a.m. you get home, always whispering on the phone. You've been sleeping on the sofa. You don't think I smell the smoke on your clothes. Feel the distance when we're close. You forget how well I know you. You're such a narcissist, egotist. You've been trying to have your cake and eat it too. Keep leaving crumbs all over our bedroom. Sneaking around and trying to hide the truth.
but said she saw him leaving. You don't think I see the marks on your skin every time you stumble in, and you really must be dreaming. You're such a narcissist, egotist. You've been trying to have your cake and eat it too. Keep leaving crumbs all over our bedroom, sneaking around and trying to hide the truth. Even someone like you can't have your cake and eat it too. I've got proof. When I kiss your lips, I'm tasting cheap perfume, sneaking around and trying to hide the truth. Even someone like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, I guess your mother never taught you, and I guess nobody ever warned you that even if you're the sweetest talker, you still can't have your cake and eat it too. Keep leaving crumbs all over our bedroom, sneaking around and trying to hide the truth. Even someone like you can't have your cake and eat it too. I've got proof. When I kiss your lips, I'm tasting cheap perfume, sneaking around and trying to hide the truth. Even someone like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
The one-man crowd.
Maybe, can we have one more for the road? Are we being greedy? Can we have one more,
Oh yeah.
please?
I'd love to play one more. I'll
Great.
play one.
Thank you.
I'll play this song. I think it's actually going to be a duet, but
Sorry,
collaborator
too expensive.
to be determined. To be determined. It's called Why Do You Love Me? Sometimes I think you get the worst of me. My old stained hoodie and the Sunday night anxiety. And I cry like twice a day at the TV. Then there's the stupid shit that I take way too personally. I know, I'm stubborn as hell and I'm hard to put up with. I find a way to make something of nothing. If I fuck up again, I know you'll say who doesn't. Who doesn't? It's all the little things I thought would be too hard to love. It's all the parts of me that people said were way too much. It don't make sense to me that you can't seem to get enough. Why do you love the oversensitivity of my mistakes? And when I'm moody, you can see it written on my face. It don't make sense to me that you don't want run away. Why do you love me? Sometimes I think you get the worst of me. My dirty laundry and my childhood insecurities. And I lose my patience way too easily. Wait for the best part of the movie just to slurp my tea. I know, I'll say it was your fault even if it wasn't. I make decisions with terrible judgment. If I fuck up again, I know you'll say who doesn't. Who doesn't? It's all the little things I thought would be too hard to love. It's all the parts of me that people said were way too much. It don't make sense to me that you can't seem to get enough. Why do you love the oversensitivity of my
Why do you love me? Why do you love putting me back together when I self-combust? And when I convince myself you've given up on us, it don't make sense to me that you can't seem to get in love. Why do you love the oversensitivity and my mistakes? When I'm moody, you can see it written on my face. It don't make sense to me that you don't wanna run away, run away, run away. Why do you love me? Thank you.